Okay, I am so happy to be here with these four individuals. You all don't know. These four individuals have made my life a wonderful life. As the director of youth ministry, I want to introduce them to you. They are youth leaders. I met them as youth leaders and then found out that they do fantastic children's ministry in addition to youth ministry. Two different things, but they are also great children's ministers. And I'm going to introduce first Jonathan Hobbs, who is Director of Children and Youth Ministry, am I saying that correctly, at Good Samaritan in Paoli. Lauren Exley, who is the Director of Youth Ministry and Children's Ministry and Youth Ministry at St. James Collegeville. Soozung Rankin, who is the I'm going to introduce you all as Director of Children and Youth Ministry at Holy Trinity on Rittenhouse Square. And last but definitely not least, Meredith Wiggins, who is the Director of Children and Youth Ministry at the Philadelphia Cathedral. I am blessed to know these people, and you're going to be blessed to know them as well. So let's get started. The reason why we're all here today is to let you know how easy it is to do Sunday school online. We want to take the mystery out of doing online Sunday school for you so that you can start this at your church once you have seen this video. We know that in this time of the pandemic and where our social distancing and our decisions on when we re-enter church, that this is probably an option that you will want to have for your formation for children come September. So we would like to offer it for you. I'm going to bring Soozung in first. She's going to talk a little bit about online etiquette and Zoom etiquette, but let me give you the structure of what each is going to talk about. Each is going to, we came up with a basic structure for Sunday school and online, and that is opening welcome, having a Zoom game or activity after the welcome, introducing and presenting the story or the lesson of the day, the response to the story, and then fifth, closing, how we close out our Sunday school. And each of our directors are going to talk about how they do it, and they all do it differently, which I find fascinating, and I know you're going to find informative and wonderful. So I'm going to start with Soozung because she's going to give us a little primer, a short primer on how to use Zoom and the etiquette of Zoom. Soozung.
Hi. The one thing that everyone needs to realize is that we are all new to this. We all did this for the very first time in March. We were all lost and we found each other, and that made all the difference in the world. So we know exactly how it feels, to start something new on Zoom with children, and it was very recent. So these are things we learned that we feel you don't have to learn the hard way. We're going to help you learn it the easy way. So Zoom has all kinds of updates, so keep up with that. And in terms of safeguarding our children, it's really important that you have a waiting room. Twice I have had people wanting to join and I didn't know who they were, and you will know who your children are. So only let them in from the waiting room if you know them. And you will not want to post the link to your Zoom on a general website. You will want to say, we are meeting and please let me know so I can send you the link and the password. And that makes parents feel really good that you have it password protected. It's also important that you have another adult with you on that Zoom. Now, it's not always going to happen, but everyone's at home. And one way to get around that is to let the families know that I'm alone today. Please make sure you're around in the background so that there's more than one adult in the Zoom room. So it's great if the adults show up first and then you let in the children after the adults have entered the Zoom room. And if you want to record it, you can, but I found that sometimes it inhibits the children to being really open. And if you have more than one adult, that ensures their safety. In my communication, I also say, if you ever see anything or hear anything, please let me know as soon as possible. And I keep my phone handy so they can text me during a Zoom if I need to do something like shut down the chat box. And I would advise that you shut down the chat box or limit the use of it, or come up with a rule that says, please don't use the chat box unless you have a technical issue. But it's not a time to do side conversations. So I'm a little old school when it comes to the way I do my Zoom with the children. I'm extremely inspired by my colleagues that you are looking at right now. And the really nice part about this group is it's not a competition, and we really support each other. We steal from each other. We share very openly. We tell people, just go ahead and use it. We just really want everyone to succeed. So please know that all you have to do, if you're feeling lost already, just email one of us. You will connect with one of us, and we will then go to each other and say, do you have this information? So our contact information will be shared, and we really are here to answer your questions. I've gone to each person in this group with a question, just so I can do my programs too. So I feel like right now my well is pretty deep. I have a lot of resources just from my years of doing children and youth ministry. And I start with an opening that is I usually end with a prayer. I don't always open with a prayer. And sometimes I start with show and tell, and sometimes I end with show and tell. You'll be surprised at how much the kids love show and tell. And actually all age groups do it. I saw it on the Today Show. People are showing off what they're making in their kitchen or what project they have going. The children love it. And it's a way for them to just feel connected to you by showing something that they have done or something that they love in their home. I usually do a check-in, how are you doing? Or I just make a really big deal when I see them come on. Oh, it's so nice to see you. And I name them by name and ask how they're doing as they come into the room. And just remember, it always takes a few minutes for everyone to get logged on, especially the first couple times you do this. People will be texting you saying, I can't get on, the link doesn't work, can you send it to me again? And you'll be sitting there trying to manage that. And once everyone is comfortable with the system, it'll be like clockwork. And then I move into some kind of a game, a Zoom game or an activity. And there's going to be a bunch of ideas and resources so that you can use ready to go games. You don't need a lot of supplies. And if you want minimal supplies, all of those ideas will be shared with you. Then maybe a lesson or a story. I've actually read a children's book, picture book, and then we talk about what that story is telling us. How does that speak to you? And you can relate it to even the lectionary from the Sunday service, so that there's sort of this feeling of connection with what happened with the adults. And with the children, the discussion is maybe not as long as the activity or the lesson or the story, but it's still there, and you're giving them a chance to respond, and then they know the next time you're probably going to do that, and then they can count on the routine, and they will then start feeling like, okay, I think I'm ready to share, or I have something that I want others to hear. And then the closing. I always do a prayer requests, and the list is long. The children are burdened, and they have a lot on their mind, and it becomes a time that feels sometimes like group therapy. And they're sharing their concerns, and it becomes part of the prayer list that goes then into our worship bulletin, so that the entire church can hear what their concerns are out of the mouth of babes. And these are deep and profound prayer requests. And sometimes they're comfortable praying on Zoom out loud, but it's something you have to get used to. But it's really important, and the kids count on it. And then that's it. That's how I do my 35 to 40 minute Zoom. I try to keep it short. Developmentally, it's really hard to stay attentive on the screen, but because of the activities, they're actually looking down or doing crafts with you, walking away to go get whatever it is you told them to go get. Maybe it was a competition, who can bring me whatever first and show me in the screen like a scavenger hunt. And so they're not locked onto the screen like they are maybe for school. So it doesn't seem as bad if you go past the 40 minutes, but I feel like we start to lose their attention after about 35 to 40 minutes. And we know based on research that that's probably right. And this is not the only time they're Zooming. So just be aware of that. And please be in touch if you have any questions.
Well, thank you, Soozung. That is fantastic. Thank you, thank you. Jonathan, tell us what you do with the structure of your Sunday school.
Sure. So it's kind of funny with us, our Sunday school isn't really on Sunday, or at least that's what it's most likely not going to be, because of the fact that we just realized with what we're planning for the fall, Sunday morning, we didn't feel like we could ask parents to say, hey, we just watched the service together, now go and watch this live thing or on another screen. So actually the first part of our strategy is we're working with the leadership to do little things, not major things, just little things to make the live stream service more engaging, just a little more engaging for kids, not just teenagers, but also kids. We're hoping, obviously, when we move to, if we do any in-person stuff as far as services, that we can have some sort of survival packs or something like that for parents. So that's part of our Sunday strategy as well. So that's the resource element to our Sunday morning strategy, is we give out resources. And I also use something from what's called the Phase Project to give out resources about, like, if you have a new baby or something like that, we have pamphlets or little cards that we send out with just helpful tips. So there's the resource element, and then obviously there's the virtual connect element. Now, all of these things technically point to each other in a circle. So the resource element reminds you about the Zoom call that we do. Right now, our plan is that it'll be Wednesday at 4. We hold that with very open arms, very, very open arms. But the idea right now is that that's after the schoolwork should be done, and it's not really into dinner time yet or family time. So this is actually a helpful thing to parents. I think too many times in church history, in the name of Jesus, we've accidentally done very unhelpful things. So instead, we're trying to actually get the timing right, and we'll see how that goes. But basically, for this Zoom call, if I use the term synchronous versus asynchronous, it's because I've been listening to too many school board meetings. But in other words, the synchronous is what's happening at the same time. A Zoom call is synchronous, but the pre-recorded things are asynchronous. And we're trying to combine those a little bit. And this is basically how we do that, where we feel that we're going to have more interaction if we do something that's live. We used to do stuff that was taped. And the really great thing about the stuff that's taped is the engagement factor almost becomes infinite. So in other words, 3 months later, they might go back and look at the thing we did in May or something like that. So there's major benefits to that. But we were realizing in July, we were getting 4 to 5 views on a video screen, on a video that we would make, which took 4 to 5 hours. So it didn't really feel that great. So instead, we're going to move to a synchronous Wednesday night program. And again, we do very, very similar, sort of something along those lines, where we actually have a countdown screen. We normally play some music in the background, maybe a funny little video that has nothing to do with anything. It's just to get people laughing. It's just to get them to sign in early. I completely agree with the idea of getting the parents or getting the adult on there first. We do a hello and absolutely name the kids by name. I see you. The whole point of doing the Zoom call is I can see you, not just you see me. So acknowledging the fact that you see them. Oh, Susan, it's so great to have you here. Little Jimmy, there's something on your, okay, whatever, whatever it is, but you're acknowledging them. The opening prayer, we do an opening prayer of some sort, and after the first couple weeks, it's really great to have someone else do that. There's little things that, whatever you can have someone else do. Opening prayer, the movement that we do is sometimes the song, if it's one of our two songs that we show, and that's always a video that we've had queued up from YouTube or something. It's almost never something we produce. One of the two is high energy. I'm not even expecting them to sing along as much as just move around and remember the chorus type of a song. That might be the first one, or it might be the last one. But then the game, I actually was looking up what we've done recently. Scavenger hunt. Who can go find this? Who can go find that? Who can go find something blue? We had a would you rather? Would you rather live in space or underwater? Would you rather, and it's amazing. But the responses, what we found is the game responses, it's great to have a nonverbal response. Otherwise, it just gets a little chaotic. And it's already going to be chaotic, so we don't have to encourage chaos. So to have red cards and green cards, or hands up or hands down, that sort of thing tends to work really, really well. We do that based on PowerPoint or Keynote slides. That's worked well for us. But you can actually just hold up something if you really wanted to. That works. The kids aren't going to be like, the production value is pretty low. The kids are going to be okay. And moving forward with that. So the story that we use, the story time, we've fallen in love, at least for now, again, open hands, with God's Story, which is by Crossroads Church. They put out these amazing things. And what I personally love about them is they really take the story in context with the rest of the Bible. They show that, and they do a review of it. Now, because they do a review with it, the next part of it is actually something we may not be doing as much anymore, which is actually, for our discussion time, we would do just a quick, what do you remember? And it was always like multiple choice where the two answers are obviously wrong, and then one answer is the right answer. But it, like exactly what we said, it makes the kids feel like, oh yeah, and then they look for it again. And then in closing, we normally have either another song. It's great if it relates to the theme. We understand if it's not. We try to have a one-line lesson. So at the end, make sure that we love others because God loves us. Something like that we can repeat multiple times. And then the other thing that we do that's a little bit different is that we do an end credits song. And all I mean by that is, hey, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Almost every time it's na, 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 hey, hey, goodbye. We just play that and everybody's dancing during it. And people do virtual backgrounds. But there's like this fun, wacky way of saying goodbye. It's really sad that the thing that they look forward to is the way we say goodbye, but so be it. I'll take whatever I can get. And we actually aim for no more than 30 minutes. Of course, I almost always go over like I just did with my time, but that's...
Not saying anything yet.
Yeah, but and I really appreciate it.
I went under, so...
Yeah.
Good.
That's basic, our strategy, the way we look at it, and the way we do it. And again, that's actually, our Sunday school is Wednesday school. So it's a little weird.
I love it. I love it. Do one thing, synchronous, asynchronous. Define that again real fast.
So synchronous is when you're doing it at the same time. It's a live broadcast.
Okay.
Where asynchronous is pre-recorded, basically.
Pre-recorded, gotcha.
Do it ahead of time. You'll hear this a lot with the schools. They'll talk about synchronous learning versus asynchronous.
Asynchronous, okay.
Those environments.
Yes, Meredith.
The point here is that Zoom commits families to coming at one particular time and it's live and interactive. Asynchronous means they can do it at their time.
Yeah.
Something that they can watch whenever they have the time. So having both is really a nice thing.
It is. Well, next we're going to go to Lauren, and Lauren has a different take on this, which I love as well. So take it away, Lauren.
So, hello everyone. So my different take is really based on the fact that we didn't want to commit families to doing Zoom every week or being tied necessarily to a screen. We know that our classes are not going to be the same as they once were for the next period of time. There's no way that we can 100% recreate that. So our goal was to reduce the burden on families as far as scheduling goes, because we were finding, because we have 4 different classes at minimum that we're meeting, and it was just becoming too much for our families. So I've designed a primarily asynchronous program, But even more so, it's more of a parent-led program where I provide all of the resources. I provide all of the walkthrough of a brief 10 to 15-minute lesson so the parents can lead it, and not only just lead it, but work with their children on it. Because I think a lot of the times parents don't necessarily know what questions to talk about with their kids about faith. They don't know how to approach these subjects. They're not always comfortable sharing their faith in detail with their kids because they've relied on the in-person Sunday school classes that we run so well. So using a parent-led model encourages that conversation. But we also know that kids need that community. We need that community with our students. We miss them. We want to see them. So we're doing a monthly Zoom, which will be more of a monthly Zoom check-in. So we might do an activity, we might read a lesson, but it's more of a how are you doing? So we can focus more on the emotional side rather than, we know that our lessons are important. They absolutely are important to give, but rather than focusing on that as much because we know that the learning is still taking place. So the way that this works is it's a lot of work on the front end of it. I've designed a curriculum based on, we use the VTS curriculum that has been available on the VTS website for free for many years. I have modified it greatly for our program and our purposes, and then I've taken that curriculum and modified it for at-home use. All of this is available in the document of resources that you'll be getting, so you can have this and use it on your own. But the way it starts off is the basic schedule that a normal class would happen. There's an opening, there's reading of scripture, there's lesson information that follows, and an activity and a prayer at the end. My opening tends to be a familiar phrase that we want all of the students to know and take to heart, and it changes each unit. So for example, the pre-K through first grade starts off with glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, amen. And they repeat that each week for memorization. And it also really kicks off the class. And then at the closing, our prayer time, the prayer structure is always the same. And then in the middle, there's a place for prayer requests. Again, to give them an easy to use format, whether they're at home or we're on the Zoom call, it can work for both. For the scripture, we're making sure we give the citation, and then we're also sending home Bibles and books of common prayer for all of the families. On my registration form, they can request if they need one, so they have all the resources. And then there's a pickup time for all of the resources that they will need for each lesson. So I'm pre-printing everything out. I'm making sure that they're not relying on needing a printer at home. If there's anything other than crayons, scissors, tape, like I'm providing that so that they can have a good experience at home. This is not how we started. In March, I started with, let's focus on the lectionary and do a fun game and read a story about it and have, and that works. That's great. It absolutely works to get them on Zoom and to go through those steps. We just felt that we wanted to continue our normal curriculum, give a sense that we're just continuing the same program. Again, it's not going to be exactly the same as it was. Don't try and focus on it has to be 100% perfect. It's not going to be. As much as we're all perfectionists, we have to know it's not going to be 100% perfect, but it's going to be what is needed at that time. So however you come up with it, it's just going to be completely wonderful for your students and your families. All right.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tell us all what VTS is.
So Virginia Theological Seminary, if you go to their site, vts.edu, I think it is.
It is.
In their formation section, they have a lot of resources. And it is a completely free curriculum. There are things that I choose to modify about it. I modify specific readings or how certain things are done with the activities. But it's a great starting point for a completely free resources that are based on units rather than lectionary. I do prefer to do units. So for example, they spend an entire unit on creation and delve into it. So it's a resource available to you right now. Enjoy.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Meredith, please tell us what you do at the Philadelphia Cathedral.
So I'm also trying something a little different this fall. I wanted to do something that kids could either do with me synchronous or asynchronous. I wanted a hybrid model so that I have some families that I sense are completely overloaded and I just think are going to be snatching, doing this whenever they can fit it in. And then parents who are up for a regular Zoom meeting every week. So I wanted to support both groups. So I decided that I would continue with our Godly Play curriculum because I thought that was comforting and to keep a sense of normalcy for the kids, but I was going to do it in a little bit of a different way. And so I'm going to open with a song, and we have kind of African songs that we have learned where I can shake a shaker and I can get some of the kids making noises like which they think is hysterical. And we sing these songs together. They really love that. I have an opening prayer that we always do, which helps them learn the sign of the cross, which is in my head, in my heart, and all around me. Jesus is here. And so they know that well, and we do that. And then we go into a story time, and I have another adult there who gets them ready for the story as normal, and then we'll have the story. Now, I'm recording the story, which is going to be different. And I'm going to do it. I've got the diocese has this wonderful program called Digital Disciples, and I've taken advantage of that, and they're going to help me record these stories in a much more professional way so that I have lighting, and it really is going to have some production values and look nice. So I can play that recorded story on Sunday morning, which, by the way, I will keep shorter than normal. I will keep it to like 5-7 minutes max because it's just a little different on Zoom. And another warning about Zoom, you're going to need a different presence. I was, with younger kids, I was always sort of slow and gentle and calm. This is very boring on Zoom. Do not do that. You need to be much more vibrant and present and alive, and don't let your energy flag because their energy will flag. So, okay, Godly Play story, it's recorded. Now, I'm going to create a little intro to that, a bumper video that I'm going to attach to that. And then I have a whole separate product so that parents can have this kind of little introduction, the Godly Play story. I'm going to continue that into wondering questions and a prayer session. And they'll have a whole little session that they can do with their child on their own. And Godly Play is, fabulous for adults too. It's very big questions, open-ended. They'll get to have hopefully a lovely little conversation with their child. So I'm really hoping that this works. Back on Sunday morning when we're doing it live, we'll wonder together, we'll pray together, and we do have a response time. And I've been pretty ambitious with the response time. It really works. And I was terrified of this, but it really works to draw together or to make Legos or do things together on Zoom. They love it. They get to have a chat and talk to each other during this time. So it's not just you talking, but they get to check in with one another and have a little bit of a normal time together. It's very important. They really like it. So I've done chip art mosaics with them where I've shipped the materials, and we've done more ambitious art projects. Always a big hit. They love it. Where am I? So
Closing.
So response time.
Response. I'm sorry. Yes.
During the story, I let them work on their art project. I introduce the Godly Play story, and I tell them a little bit about what it physically looks like. And I say, you can be drawing. As you're listening to this story, start drawing your response. So then that gives them about 10 minutes where they can draw. And then we cut it off and we have prayer time. On Zoom, I introduce prayer time more than I do on Sunday morning. And I don't know, it just seems to work better. And so I have a little introduction, like I have one where I say, I use the thing of, there's a room for you in your Father's house. And I say, think about you're in that room and it's just for you. What does it look like? What do you see out the window? Here you are in this wonderful place. And now I want you to talk to God, who's made this beautiful room for you. And so they share their prayers. So I do a little bit of an introduction. We also take the kids' prayers and we read them during the children's service. I mean, the main service the next week, so that the whole congregation gets to hear the children's prayers with their permission.
Oh, that's wonderful.
let's see, and then we close. Same thing, we have a closing prayer. That's it. We say goodbye to them. What else do I want to say? Oh, our Sunday morning Zoom is going to be a breakout room from the main service so that the kids will come into church with all of us. We will go into our own breakout room and they will come back and get welcomed back into the main service. So we're going to see how this works. I also play games. I do it at the end. If we've gotten through all of our stuff in the prayer time and there's time, we play a lot of fun games. They love that. We're going to list tons of games for you that you can play. We're going to list tons of story resources so that, you know, the Godly Play Foundation has much better than my videos, wonderful videos of the Godly Play stories. You can use them. There are tons of fun Bible videos out there. There are tons of storybooks. There's a resource again out of Virginia Theological Seminary called Story Path that links picture books to every week of the lectionary reading, so you can just check them out from the library, and a lot of times they have questions prepared for you. Spark House, a curriculum that you can buy, has long focused on digital curriculum. Everything they have is downloadable, and they have videos, little short, really punky, cute fun videos for every week for different age groups. So you could buy that and have these, you know, very easy story videos for you. So there are tons of resources to make it easy. And the first 2 weeks, you're going to come away going, oh, but I promise you, in about a month, it will feel normal. You'll look forward to it. You'll look forward to seeing them. Everyone will have fun. It'll be great.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Do you have any questions you want to ask each other? This group's been together for a while. We've been hanging out for a while. So,
and I wanted to say that you have to be true to yourself.
Oh my.
And if you stay true to yourself and you're excited to do it, then your children will be excited also. And it will not feel dreadful and awful. And when you do start to feel like you're slipping, you need to just get in touch with one of us and we'll help you. And you will not be able to do what we're talking about today. I aspire to my colleagues, right? And it's just to give you an idea how to get started. You can start today, and you don't have to have what we have done. But we've had 6 months to do it, and we are employees, right? You're volunteers. So we want to help you to do that as you juggle the responsibilities you have. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I've gotten to the point where I'm delivering activity bags. I had 30, but some of them are siblings, and it was manageable. I could get it done in a few days, and it was a nice way to do face-to-face contact. Mm. And figuring out when to meet is going to be the trick for you. And I figured out, and we talked as a leadership team, that we would separate all the meetings. And we may try what Meredith is doing, but the youth meet at 2 o'clock, and then the children, and for us this year will be 4th grade and younger, they meet at 4, but I'm going to take Jonathan's idea and we're starting a 5th and 6th grade Club 56 group at 3 o'clock. And I have a puppet show for the toddlers, which is asynchronous. And I let the families decide what it means to them to be 4th grade and younger. So I do have some 4 and 5-year-olds. It works out fine. It's a one-room classroom. You know, this is what Jesus did. Everyone was not at the same stage and age or in the same developmental place. And the bottom line is they just need to know that you care and that they are loved. And if you can do that, paper and marker and pencils, you can go a long way.
You sure can. You sure can. So I want folks to be able to take away with this whole thing what I find most important that has come out of this pandemic. I was talking to somebody the other day that this is not lemons. What we have gone through, this change in church, this way we do church, is not lemons. We're beyond making lemonade out of this. We've made strawberry lemonade, and you know, I mean, we really have. You can heard all the different flavors of lemonade today that we have each made. But this is a new way of doing formation for our kids and moving it away from Sunday morning. Feel free. You hear We have to move it to where you always wanted to move it to have the greatest impact on the kids. That you know, Sunday morning may not have been the time when you got their attention. You know, the resources. Do not worry. We're going to give you all the resources that you need. You heard some Meredith talk about bumper video. Jonathan turned us on to bumper video, and we're going to have that as a resource for you so you can learn how to jazz up your presentation and do really cool things with it. And if you don't understand, Jonathan's going to tell you in the video. If you don't understand how to do it, you can put it on pause, call Jonathan, and Jonathan's going to work you through it. This is the most wonderful group of people, and they model how we all should be as children's ministers. Share, steal, call, do whatever it is you have to do to make sure that you are getting out the gospel of Jesus Christ to our children whenever you do it and however you do it. There's no right or wrong. There's no all online. There's no all streaming. You heard the words hybrid. You heard synchronous and asynchronous. It's how it works best for you. And believe you me, we are here for you. And I realized through all this talking, for those who don't know who I am Betsy Ivy. I'm Canon for Growth and Support, and I'm the Director of Youth Ministry. I know, I'm like, who is she? It is my joy to work with each one of you. Thank you all so much for doing this. And we're going to have a check-in session after you have viewed this. It'll be early in September, so watch out for the date. And bring your questions, bring your comments, bring everything to that time. We'll be happy to talk to you and share with you. Thanks so much. Thank you guys, and thanks so much. Take care. God bless.